Finding the Catalina was easy because we knew where it was, and we were going to possibly buy this Catalina before with the previous arrangement. We had everything ready to go when we had an engine failure on one of the test flights. So that made us have to buy a new engine. And we thought, okay, if you're going to buy a new engine, you may as well buy 2 new engines. Now, I've always said that the Catalina was to Australia what the Spitfire was to England. A lot of the things that the Catalina pilots did have never really been told. They were top secret during the war, and the War Memorial in Canberra has very little about the Catalinas. The Catalinas did a lot of these operations, such as laying mines behind enemy lines up into the harbours. They were slow and cumbersome. They went at night. They went sometimes for 20, 22 hours to get there and get back again. The navigation alone was a tremendous feat. Dropping the mines was like the dam busters. They're famous for having dropped those mines and broken those dams, but these chaps were doing exactly that same thing. Those mines they dropped, the Japanese never knew how they got there.
The last time I would be in a cat flying condition was the day we landed at Rose Bay, Sydney, when we come back from South America after doing the South Pacific from west to east and east to west. Arrived and landed at Rose Bay. You know, my wife was waiting ashore and the Prime Minister, Mr. Manzi. So I come up, well, I got out of the Pacific because he got a pat on the back and told him a job well done for Australia.
Flak from surrounding areas and from the battleship itself was coming in and coming back towards us. Although I was only leaning forwards and coming back and hitting this, I had time to think, geez, I'm going to hit this back with a wreck, and then, Christ, it hurt.
And what you got hit was shrapnel from a shell that hit the front of the aircraft,
Shell came
was
straight
it?
through the front, blew a hole in the front of the aircraft.
I had 4 trips in 8 days, averaging about just under 25 hours each.
Really?
We had our eyes back here.
Yeah.
Like 168 hours in a week there are, and we were actually in the air for 96 of them. It was a bonfire, like a huge bonfire, black smoke and thick flame up like a bonfire, vertically up to the sky, and the control surfaces, ailerons and rudders were canvas. Of course, most of that burnt away. We had very little control, but just managed with, as we're near the water, opening the throttles in a burst and bringing the nose up and next hit. And when we hit, I'll tell you this much, we did the longest skip any Catalina had ever done before or since. Seemed to skip for half a mile before it touched again. That's the speed we had up because we had bugger all control.
These Catalina blokes, and they're unfortunately, well, there's probably about 30 or 40 of them left now. There was a couple of hundred last year, and next year there'll probably be 5 or 6. So we've got to get these stories out and build this memorial for these people and let the Australians know really what they did.
One of the last of its kind still flying, and after 63 years, this Catalina is about to start a whole new life in Australia. Touching down in Darwin, the flying boat has just completed an epic voyage across more than a dozen countries. It's a historic return for this unique plane. Scores of Catalinas were based in Darwin during the Second World War. Behind the controls of this survivor is Jim Hazelton.
I admire the guys who flew them in World War II. You know, that's what this was all about. It's a memorial to the guys who flew them.
Built in 1945, this Catalina was found in Portugal 3 years ago, working as a water bomber. Volunteers raised $350,000 to refit the plane with new engines and enough fuel for the journey. The Catalina will fly on to Cairns, then to its new home, a museum at Rathmines in New South Wales.
And colour-bombed, I guess the roof would need to be colour-bombed in the old stuff. So, have you got contacts in all of those people, Barney? Or?
So we've all got interest in this project to bring the Catalina back to Rathmines. People are in charge of getting a hangar built to house the Catalina.
That to me would be just perfect.
We had the main hangar, and then alongside that was something that looked somewhat, to me, it looked something like a Bellman hangar.
Most of the problem is collecting money to do the thing.
Should you wish to proceed with a request for a grant, you should submit the enclosed application form to the Deputy Chief of the Air Force. But I mean, there is a bit of an offer from Williamtown that if it was up here somewhere, they'd come and do some, cleaning, scrubbing down.
So we are sort of really just stuck for money at the moment. There's economic downturn.
Everyone wants it should be happening.
At the moment, we just have no money in the kitty left. In fact, we owe people money. So we can't do much until we get a bit of a breakthrough there financially.
At Catalina Bay in Rathmines, young and old lined the shore, patiently awaiting their first glimpse of the historic aircraft. Aviation enthusiasts arrived on foot, in boats, and even aboard a helicopter and seaplane. All eyes turned skyward as the Catalina finally appeared on the horizon. But no one dreamed of this. Despite strict instructions not to land, the Catalina touched down on Lake Macquarie.
He gave the crowd a real thrill there, seeing the hull actually touch the water.
Those responsible for its return thrilled to the core.
I think I've got to go and check my blood pressure. And we've been working for a long time to get it back here, and now it's here.
The war relic then left for Sydney to undergo restoration work at Bankstown Airport before returning to Catalina Bay.
A lot more work to be done yet. We hope to establish a flying museum here commemorating all those brave men that flew here in the Black Cats during the war.